Hi guys, welcome back to the cookie jar. So today we're going to be starting with the first book, The Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder, in the series by Joanne and Fluke. So there are 7 recipes in this book, I believe. There's the chocolate chip crunch cookies, the Regency Ginger Crisp, the pecan chews, black and white, chocolate covered cherry delights, old-fashioned sugar cookies, and lovely lemon bar cookies. Today we're going to be starting with the chocolate chip crunch cookies, which is right there. It says to preheat the oven to 375, back in the middle position, which is standard for most cookies, I believe. A cup of butter, a cup of white sugar, 1 cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, 2 beaten eggs, 2½ cups of flour, 2 cups of crushed cornflakes, and 1 to 2 cups of chocolate chips. So the actual start of the recipe after you preheat the oven is to melt the butter, add the sugars, and stir that up. Add soda, salt, vanilla, and beaten eggs. Mix well. Then add flour and stir it in. Add crushed cornflakes and chocolate chips. Mix it all thoroughly. Form dough into walnut-sized balls with your fingers and place on a greased cookie sheet, 12 to a standard sheet. Press them down with a floured or greased fork in a crisscross pattern, the same method as peanut butter cookies. Bake at 375 for 10 minutes. Cool on cookie sheet for 2 minutes. Then remove to a wire rack until they're completely cool. The rack is important, it makes them crisp. And then it's got little anecdotes on the bottom. Use these at children's party, everybody loves them. And these cookies have been Andrea's favorite since high school. So that is all there is to the chocolate chip crunch cookies. Meet me in the kitchen and we'll get started. Bye guys. So we are in the kitchen now. We have all of our ingredients set out and measured. Our oven is set to 375. I have my cooling rack set out already, and I have my trays prepped. Now, it says greased cookie sheets in the recipe, but I think that's because back when these books were written, at least probably 10 years ago, they didn't have these silicone baking trays and baking mats, and that's what I'm going to be using today because I find that easier for me. The last thing before we get started is I will be using a cookie scoop because they just make things easier and more uniform. You get pretty much the same amount of dough in every cookie and there's no guesswork. This one is 1.5 tablespoons. So with that, let's get started making our cookie dough. The first thing is to add the sugar and get that blended. That'll be the first thing we need. So I've got the sugars and the butter in the bowl, and we're just going to let that mix until it is blended. It usually takes about 2 minutes to get fully blended. It has been about a minute, and this is what we get. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is mix the baking soda, the salt, the vanilla extract, kind of liquid, and the eggs, which 2 eggs beaten up. Okay. And we'll mix that until it is fully incorporated. So the next thing we're going to do is mix in the flour until that is fully incorporated. Once you stop seeing specks of flour, it's usually pretty well mixed. So the next thing that we need to do is add our cornflakes and chocolate chips. Cornflakes and chocolate chips. I actually am using a mix of the semi-sweet and the milk because that's what I had in the pantry. You can use anything, and it says up to 1 to 2 cups, so whatever you want your chocolate level to be at. That is it. Our dough is done. Now we just need to drop it onto our cookie sheets and make our little marks. So this is our cookie dough. It's all ready to get scooped out. It looks pretty thick, like a regular cookie batter. Now we're just going to take the scoop, run it up the side of a bowl. That's what we end up with. And then we're just going to plop it down like it says, 12 to a sheet. So I'm just going to scoop all these up and I'll see you in a minute. Okay, so here are our cookies lined up. This batch made a total of just one shy of 4 trays. So 4 dozen. Okay, so the last thing we're going to do before these go in the oven is we're going to take a fork and we're going to cross hatch the cookies. So what that means is we're going to go down almost like a cross on a cookie, if you've seen them. I'll do a tray and let y'all see what they look like. All right, I'll see you in a second. Here is the finished tray of the cross-hatched cookies. It's not as easy as it would be on a peanut butter cookie because the large chocolate chunks right here keep getting in the way. But it worked out all right. So I'm just going to finish cross-hatching the other 3 batches, and we will see you guys when they go in the oven. All right, guys, we have gotten all of our cookies cross-hatched. Now they're going to take a little ride in an oven for 10 minutes, and we will see you later. So here are our finished cookies, all 4 dozen of them. Okay, so here we are. We are finished with our cookies. These are the chocolate chip crunch cookies. They're definitely crunchy. So they definitely have the taste of a regular chocolate chip cookie, but the corn flakes give them a little something extra, and it gives them a lot of that crunch. Now, if you're one of the people who think that chocolate chip crunch cookies should be warm, gooey, this is not your recipe. But it is something different, and it is really tasty. If you want to try it, the recipe is in the video. So next week, we are going to be working on the next recipe in the book, which I believe is the Regency Ginger Crisps. So we will see you next week if you're interested in that. Bye, guys.